All right. So this is Laugh at Everything podcast number 3. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're on something that you can't like and subscribe, I mean, go ahead and try.
That's a shame. So starting off, I guess I have this topic that I was thinking about because, like, I don't know if you've heard about Shane Dawson on YouTube.
I keep hearing about that. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, like his YouTube series are just like really like they're high quality, like they're really nicely made. And like he did one on like Tana Mojo, or whatever her name is.
Who's that? What is that?
TanaCon crap. Don't know about any of that. Well, I'm not about to explain her because it's not really about.
Is this
her.
PewDiePie? Is that who this is?
No. So he did one about like her. He did one about Jeffree Star. I don't know if you know of Jeffree Star.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, he also.
Wait. Is he related to? His brother's Patrick, right?
I hate you. No. I think they're actually, legitimately though, there is, I think, a YouTube named Patrick Star who does makeup too. Anyways.
This is his best friend,
SpongeBob Star. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Who lives at the bottom of the
So he did those 2 series. And he also did like this newest one about Jake Paul. You know, the Paul brothers. You ever heard of those 2?
Are those 2 brothers react?
No, that's not
Fine.
Fine. That's Fine Brothers Entertainment.
Oh, okay. The only people on YouTube that I listen to are Laugh at Everything podcasts.
Oh yeah. So Logan Paul and Jake Paul are like, they were Viners. And like there's like this thing that happened in YouTube history called like the Vine like migration. Like they migrated to YouTube whenever Vine died. Okay. Well, like they kind of just took over YouTube really quickly because a lot of people knew them on Vine and also had YouTuber accounts, and they just, you know, automatically like went and subscribed. Well, like the Paul brothers had like, I think like one of the quickest growing channels ever in the history of YouTube because so many people liked them on Vine. Now they're on YouTube. They just went and subscribed and their channels grew really huge. And so like they were part of like a huge movement. And like they're really controversial with their content, like just crazy content. Like you might have heard the Suicide Forest thing, like Logan Paul. Don't know about that. Oh man, we got a lot to go through.
By the way, for this podcast, we're missing a few people.
Yeah.
So it's just Wes and
Josh. It's just us 2 today.
Just the two good old boys.
Yeah.
The OG, as it were.
The goodest boys. So I figured, you know, we make it more like just calm, chillaxed. You know.
Oh man, I was hoping we were gonna have a rager.
Ah, dude, sorry.
So Logan Paul, he's taking over YouTube.
Yeah, no.
He's becoming a YouTube CEO. What's going on?
No, it's just him and his brother. They're known as like the Paul brothers together, and they're just like always together. But Logan had like this huge scandal where he went into the Japanese suicide forest. I don't know if you ever heard about that. It's like this forest where it's like a known location where I don't want to get anything wrong, so I'll stop there, but I believe, in my opinion, that I think it's where a lot of people go to commit suicide, and like
it's called the Japanese Force.
I don't know for sure what it's called.
So I thought this was like a squad of people, you know, like a police force, you know, they just go around and make sure that people commit suicide. I mean, don't commit suicide.
I don't know. It's an actual like forest.
Oh, forest.
Yes,
oh,
forest.
Okay.
Yes.
The Japanese forest.
Yes.
Got it. I thought you said force.
No. Well, Logan Paul had like went to Japan, had a whole bunch of controversy there. Like he made videos like going around making fun of people, like their culture. Just it was really bad. He posted on YouTube.
He's just a typical American.
Yeah. I mean, he brought a really bad like look on America as a whole. But he went into the suicide forest and like found a dead body and like recorded it and like posted it on YouTube. Was like laughing and stuff, and it was pretty bad. I didn't watch the video because I didn't want to, but I mean, like right in the thumbnail, just had the dead person's like body, just like his face. So yeah, it was pretty rough. Well, that's one thing. Well, Jake Paul is his brother.
These sound like great people.
Look, a lot of people dislike them, right? But at the beginning of the series, a lot of people were like mad at Shane. because they were like, Shane, if you're gonna do this series on Jake Paul, just know that I'm gonna still hate Jake Paul by the end of it. And I didn't hate Jake Paul, I just didn't care for him. And now at the end of the series, I understand like a lot more about him and about his brother and about their family.
And now we definitely hate them.
No, I don't hate anybody. I'm not gonna watch his content, but I still like I have more respect for him, I guess.
Yeah.
For everyone involved except for Logan. Well, the whole thing is that Jake Paul. This is really like summarizing a lot. Jake Paul had a girlfriend, like an on and off girlfriend, and like they would cheat on each other often. But like they were just like a public figure together. Like everyone knew them as like together. And so the girl slept with Logan, his brother,
Okay.
behind Jake's back. So I just want to know your thoughts about that.
I mean, without bad mouthing someone too much,
Right.
you know, that's typically that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah. Let's say hypothetically, all right? Whole different people, different scenario. Just your brother sleeps with your girlfriend. What do you do?
I mean, I don't know who I'd be more upset or
Right.
hurt by.
Right. I mean, that's my brother.
Well, me and my brother have always been competitive, you know, so.
That's literally part of the series.
Like, I don't know, you know, we'd always try to beat each other up better or, you know, race, but I
That's a
never won.
huge part of the series. Anyways.
And, you know, a lot of people will come into your life and leave, but siblings typically stay.
Their family. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, obviously, that another person can't come into your life and replace your family. An ideology that I have a lot is that family is more than blood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because you're related to someone doesn't mean, you know, basically anything.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
To a
especially
point.
me. Like I've lost family members, and like I have a great support system. Like I grew up with a great support system of friends who I consider my family.
Yeah.
Like I live states away from some of my friends, but I still talk to them so often.
What listeners may not know is that Josh and I are actually identical twins.
Yeah,
We are family.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like what could go through your mind? And like, okay, let's change the scenario a little bit. Still hypothetical. Still not talking about the Paul brothers at all. Hypothetically, you're both in the public eye. You both have business together. Everyone's looking at you like with a freaking spotlight. What do you do?
First off, if I'm in that situation and she cheats on my brother or whatever, and
No, she cheats on me with my brother. Is
Right,
what you
right,
mean?
same thing. Like,
Is it?
if we're in the public spotlight, number one, I'm using that for attention. I'm gonna milk that for all it's worth.
That's what?
Number one, public spotlight. Got to make sure that spotlight stays on me. As much news as we have today, if you can stay relevant for more than a day, you're doing good. Now, whether that's, you know, allegedly doing some sort of misconduct with people when you're a teenager and then running for a Supreme Court senator, Supreme Court judge, you know, you stay in the news cycle for
A while.
you know, about a week.
That was weeks.
That was pretty
Seems
good.
like, yeah.
You know, the only other way you can get that kind of exposure is if you are an incompetent president, you know, who just keeps saying dumber and dumber things. And not that not that we've had one or have one. You know, that's the type of people that stay in the spotlight right now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, number one, if I'm in the spotlight in any way, shape, form, or fashion, doing whatever I can to make sure.
Okay, but to be in the spotlight because your girlfriend. No, that's not actually part of it. But he was in the spotlight a lot because hypothetically,
Right.
this person that we're hypothetically talking about wasn't say they were in the spotlight a lot for just doing like dumb, crazy, like controversial shit.
I mean, then really, are we surprised? And that's also what I'm saying is that if she's sleeping around supposedly a lot with, you know, multiple people, and I'm sleeping around with multiple people, I mean, do you care for that person that much? I mean, maybe other people see it a
that's
different way.
another thing that we probably could talk about is
Like if you both have this agreement, like, okay, yeah, we got an open relationship, but we are an item, you know.
see, but that agreement probably was never like that agreement probably never occurred.
Well,
as far as with relationships nowadays, Wes, Snapchat, dude, is
Yeah, I mean, I'm an old soul, you know.
right.
I found one. I got married, and I was like,
Found
this
one.
one, you know.
One, you know, like that's not today.
Forgive
That's
me,
not
forgive me
today.
for hitting that table, but yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
So like I said in the last podcast, you know, I think I got lucky, got really lucky,
Right, yeah.
and you know, a lot of people can get into a lot of trouble with that dream, you know, that dream of, oh, I'm just gonna find this one, and then they get into like an abusive relationship or something, and they're like, oh no, this one's the one. It's like, all right, well, he stabbed your puppy and he's beat you to death.
Yeah.
3 times, and somehow you're still alive. You
Right.
know, that's a very dangerous dream. But if you're going to have an open relationship like that, there should be some sort of agreement. And if you don't, and people are, you know, I can't really be mad. I don't know if I'd be really mad at either of them in that particular situation.
I totally disagree.
Because if I'm going to be mad that she's sleeping around with other people, but you know, but not say anything, or if I know that she's sleeping around with other people and not be mad, how am I going to be mad when she sleeps around with my brother?
Very easily. That's
That doesn't make any sense. You're no. If
this is why I wanted to bring it up. 'Cause
to
I
me,
feel
this is like an all or nothing. It's like, okay, you're allowed to have an open relationship with anyone, or you're with me, and that's it.
this is where we have dissenting opinions. First off, my number one and like first and foremost opinion is open relationships probably don't work to me. For me, to me, around me.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I could make one work either.
But
It's not my
hypothetically,
style.
if I were in an open relationship, there would most definitely be the boundary that none of my family members are.
Why? If you're allowing them to go, you know, skate off with some hobo or something, you know, you don't know what kind of people are out in the world, but you do know your family a bit better.
See, I feel like we're focusing this more on the spouse, anyways. I feel like my family members should also step up and just not do that at all. You know, have that respect for me.
I mean, I agree. I wouldn't want my brother hitting on my wife, you know, for example. Not that he
Right.
would, because you know, we wouldn't do that.
Because
But
you're normal. That's why. Yeah, normal.
If-
normal family.
if I'm a POS and I'm in a relationship that's open, supposedly, or in a relationship that's, we haven't really agreed that it's open, but we're both just messing around with the other people, and we're both POSs, and then my brother's a POS, you know, a lot of people out in the world, none of you glorious people listening, a lot of the people out in the world are terrible. They're just awful, man. People are just atrocious. And I feel like, you know, I'm not even, at this point, if I was in some sort of, like, if hands down, basically, the end of the argument for me, I think, is that if I'm going around sleeping with other people, and she's going around sleeping with other people, and we haven't really confronted each other on it, but we both know it's happening, you go have kittens with whoever you
So
want.
I think we're arguing two different things though. I think you're arguing for the right to be mad. I'm arguing that I'd still be mad no matter what.
See, I don't think I would be.
Wes, you can't look me in the eye and tell me that. There's no way. I don't
just
believe
don't-
you.
I don't think I would be. Like, if you're already messing around with other people,
Your
go ahead.
brother. How betrayed and hurt
Yeah.
and angry.
I'm hurt and betrayed at the first messing around, you know, with random Joe Schmo over behind the deli in the Walmart. That's who I'm mad about him. And then the next guy, you know, I'm mad about him.
I'm sorry, dude.
Like, if it was, like, the first time, and, like, okay, we're in a committed relationship, she sleeps with my brother, then I'm pissed at everybody.
See, that's not how it was. Hypothetically, that's not how it was.
Well, then I don't know if I could be mad.
So, I don't believe this.
Josh, you just want to be mad at somebody.
No. I'm just saying, like, if that would ever happen to me, which my brother would never. My brother is an amazing person. He wouldn't even think about fucking me over that way.
So, you know, my brother's always been bigger than I am. So if I want to get mad at him, the only logical conclusion that we're going to have anything done,
That he wins.
we're going to fight. And he's going to win.
No.
That's it. There's nothing else I can do.
So your resolution is just to not get angry.
Why to get
That's
angry at this point?
That's so stupid.
Did you just assume my intelligence level?
I'm so sorry.
I'm teasing. I'm really dumb.
Shut up.
I did. So
You're not dumb, dude.
something you said kind of reminds me, or kind of brings a slight topic, is that you said that one of the brothers may or may not go around making fun of other people's cultures.
Yeah, maybe. Hypothetically.
I feel like that's okay to do if you're not American.
I'm sorry.
Because-
you're not correct.
Just in a specific sense that it seems like every other culture hates Americans.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
Like, they're like, oh yeah, Americans, they're the worst.
But like, okay.
They
so
just think they're the best, which we are.
Whoa,
Hold on.
whoa.
We used to be. Oh, man.
So, okay, not to cut off your point, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I feel like it is a running joke because America's the best. Like, that's pretty much like our mantra. Like, that's what it's been. And so going overseas somewhere where it's like all they probably hear from us is this like posturing of like America's the best and you're nothing compared to us. It's like, of course they're gonna make fun of us or look down upon us.
What's really interesting is that, you know, in the last 20 years, we've I don't want to say we've declined, but you know, the idea of this great America, you know, when we were children, it was kind of instilled in us, you know,
America's
that
great.
we're the best and that everyone's free, everyone makes their own decisions, and you can have your piece of the American dream. And it seems like that sort of ideology has kind of died down some. And I think there's a lot of things to contribute to that, you know, like 9/11 and recession and the housing bubble and all these things. And I feel like even though we've got it bad, there's a lot of worse places in the world.
I agree.
And I feel like we're still the center of the media world. But I think very quickly that's becoming not true. Because a lot of other places, I mean, like Australia, you know, they've got like their own, I don't want to call it like a centralized media, but I think it was it Lord? I think it's Australian, or maybe Iggy Azalea. And she was like really big in Australia.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry
There's a
for-
couple of like really talented, just like artists that are
Right, but you don't hear. Or at
I
least
say
we don't-
couple. There's a lot.
We don't hear about them in America, you know, I guess until they make it
Right,
over.
right.
But obviously in Australia, they're really popular, you know. And I don't know how it is for the rest of the world. Maybe the rest of the world hears them before America does, but it almost seems like, and I could be totally wrong here, it seems like until they come to America, they don't have like worldwide population influence or
Okay,
love,
yeah.
you know?
Which okay, so my argument to that, I mean, not my argument, but like my support for that would be a lot of the K-pop, like that's.
I mean, yeah, K-pop's
Yeah.
a huge thing, and
it's-
even
yeah.
I would say that that's kind of replacing the old mainstream America media. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's becoming more and more popular over here in America, and obviously it's huge over there.
Of course.
And if you don't jam to Baby Metals, Give Me Chocolate, I don't even
So-
think you're human.
Whenever you talk about like media and stuff like that, I could agree that like America at once had like a huge margin above a lot of other places. Like I feel like we briefly discussed like economically. I totally agree. I feel like America's, you know, ahead.
Speaking, so kind of along this topic, I just want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
So America and the old-time American government are really looked down upon because of the use of slaves,
Of course.
which is obviously a really terrible thing.
Yes.
But it almost seems like a lot of people are like blaming America for slavery. Like America's like they came up with the idea of slavery and they did this. And while slavery is absolutely not a cool thing, and I don't know if there's any place in the world where it is legal still.
There are quite a few
Oh
places.
man, that's
yes.
really
Yeah.
that's sad.
Yeah.
But I feel like people forget, you know, like ancient ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, the idea of slavery in general was like not something that America just created.
Right.
I feel like that is a huge part of our history, though. I mean,
I mean, it absolutely is, and
and I feel like we were one of the ones that just acknowledges it, or is at least attempting to acknowledge that part of our history and heal from it.
I just feel like a lot of people think that it's like America's idea, and I get it. It's a terrible thing, and I'm not endorsing it at all. But people don't look over at England and think, "Hey, at one point the English Empire owned like 90% of the world's landmass at some point or another."
Yeah, exactly.
Like England has went and colonized almost every single square inch of Earth. At some point or another they had it under the control, or they ruled it, or whatever. And that's what makes me. So, like, I was watching Black Panther the other day, and the CSI?
Right.
CIA guy,
Right.
the guy from the CIA, Ross. CSI, yeah. Some of the people in Wakanda called him colonizer, and I was just like, why? Wait, he's not like. The actual Martin Freeman that plays the character is from England, so yeah, sure, call him a colonizer. Because England has basically invaded everywhere,
Right, yeah.
But he's from America. I mean, America's... obviously, we only colonize the places that have oil or some sort of... some of our decisions as a country, as a whole...
Oh, God,
not been on par. Not been good.
I agree.
But... what are you gonna do? You gonna run for governor or president?
You don't know what I can do. I have a long life ahead of me.
So, I did see something on Reddit, and I want to say that part of it bothers me, and part of it's like, oh yeah, this is totally a good thing that happened to this guy. But it makes me think that, I just want to get your opinion on this. Mm-hmm. So a guy is being charged with, I think it's like 1st or 2nd degree attempted manslaughter. For like breaking open a Plan B capsule into his girlfriend's shake and trying to like stir it in. Number one, I'm just gonna say this is completely, totally not okay.
Oh wow, no.
Not okay at all.
Oh my God.
Number two, to play devil's advocate here, I don't know, how the system works. All I know is that if two people have a kid, courts are much more likely to basically step the father for like child support.
Oh, okay. Right.
So my idea is
you're gonna be the devil's advocate, are you?
Right.
Here? Okay.
Just it's totally not okay to do that.
Right. So everything that's coming like after this is not actually Wes's opinion. He's just logically explaining some stuff on Reddit that he saw.
Right.
Okay.
So totally not okay that he did this, but it should be both people's decisions whether or not a child is born. Which you would think that, that decision is made during the action.
The conception.
Right.
Right.
But especially in today's age, I don't feel like people really give that much consideration, and then it happens.
Mm-hmm. I'm not to interrupt you or whatever. This is supposed to be a chill podcast.
Right.
We're getting in it.
We're getting into it.
All right, keep on going.
Well, so a lot of places in the United States, I think the entire United States, except for a couple of certain places, have deemed that if a woman doesn't want to have a pregnancy, then that's their choice.
Right. She doesn't need the man's consent to have an abortion. Is that what you're getting at?
Right.
Okay.
But I feel like if we are going to charge a man for child support for a baby that he does not want, is that not the same coin?
Ooh.
Not that I'm saying that what he did is okay, because it's not.
It's not at all.
But there should be some sort of way, and I don't know if there is, that he's like, hey, I don't want this child. She does. That's okay. I don't want to have to pay child support, though.
I almost believe that is a thing.
Is it?
Like you literally give up your right to fatherhood.
Wow.
That has to be a thing.
I mean, I don't know. We've had crazier laws, but like I said, totally don't condone what that dude.
Yeah. Like, it has to be both parties agree. But I could see the part that you're talking about where the mother... Because, like, both parties, I think that both parties have to agree that this father's going to give up his.
That's just in people. Josh thinks.
Like, I
Dude.
think that both of the guardians have to agree and sign like a whole bunch of forms about the father like just dropping his title, like getting his name off the birth certificate, like having no claim to this child whatsoever in the future at all.
What if the mother doesn't agree?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
What if she's like,
what if she doesn't sign?
Yeah,
Are you saying that is he then trapped, air quotes,
Right.
to pay child support? I don't know.
Find out 18 later it's not his.
Oof,
How
that's
we
some,
want freedom.
that's some Maury shit. Yeah, I don't know. I could not. Okay, so what are you asking my opinion on? You were talking about how this guy's, like, so the guy's been found guilty already for the manslaughter stuff?
Right, I think he's been sentenced for attempted manslaughter,
Yeah,
which
he totally fucking deserves that.
right. I'm
That's
not saying that
ridiculous.
that's a good thing. I'm just wondering what is the procedure if a guy doesn't,
Right.
want a child, because I think that
Right.
that child is every right. That child's life is every. He's got that decision as well. And while he doesn't have to go through a lot of the physical, or really any of the physical
Right.
parts of it, he does fiscally.
Still half of his DNA, still.
I mean, yeah. So
And fiscally, yeah. So, okay. That brings up the point of, like...
we're getting heavy. Josh Zucker's.
Yeah, it really, yeah.
We should totally just stop and change the subject.
Ah, dude.
So how about them 49ers today, man? Brett Favre can't throw
Man.
that basketball very far, and I don't know sports.
Some good weather we're having.
Oh man, it's raining every day. Do you think it's weird that it's rained every Saturday for like 2 months straight? It's almost like the world is.
This is like no one else understands this right now because this is just us locally, West.
Is it? Dude,
Let's
like,
find out.
everyone in Texas. So for those, for all of our worldwide listeners, it has been raining here every Saturday for like 2
Louisiana.
months.
Right.
And it makes me think that, I don't know if this has happened for a long time. I've never really paid attention to it that much. But I know over in like India, because of the way that, their country is, and it's like blocked off by mountains and stuff like that, and it's got oceans around it and stuff like that, that there's a monsoon season.
Oh, yes.
And I can't help but wonder if we've got like the Gulf and with climate change and stuff like that, are we going to start like an annual monsoon season?
I'm pretty sure it's called hurricane season.
Right.
That's what I'm pretty sure.
But hurricane, it comes, it messes everything up, and then it leaves. It's been raining like on a dime, like a clock watch.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, 2:00 Saturday.
There's that rain.
There's the rain,
The
you
annual
know?
rain, yeah.
Dude, some of this rain's been crazy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Like, I didn't believe Forrest Gump when he was like, there was sideways rain. Like, I've seen some sideways rain.
Sideways ass rain.
Like, I've never walked out, put my umbrella up, and then got hit in the face from the side and be like, whoa. Did I just get, spit on or something? This is crazy.
Okay, so that actually brings up, where were you for Katrina?
Katrina was here.
Here?
I mean, not in Ruston. I was in Shreveport, Bossier.
Oh, okay.
So we got family come up, that lived in,
Yeah.
wherever they lived down south.
New Orleans?
No.
A little bit lower.
It's more to the west.
Gotcha.
West.
And you were living with your parents, obviously. Yeah.
No, I was,
No, I was estranged.
I was being raised by my dog.
Living in my high school.
Hey, I did actually, never mind. We'll get into that
We'll get
later.
into that later.
No, but yeah, we had family come up and we ate.
You remember what you ate?
We ate those MREs.
Oh, the MREs.
Like-
oh, yeah.
Apparently, they brought like a
Like
whole
their
bundle of
surplus.
stuff that they had,
Yeah.
and it was enough to feed us. It
Yeah.
was like 7 or 8 people, and it fed us for like a month.
Yeah, MREs are...
It was ridiculous. We just didn't go to grocery store. Mom, what are we doing for dinner? She'd be like, well,
That MRE's looking pretty fucking good.
you got this packaged lunch with a grape soda and a cheese stick, and you can make yourself a peanut butter and jelly. But until we eat all this, we're not going anywhere. And I was
MREs are pretty litty titty.
I've had a few of them. I haven't been blown away by them.
No, they're not. They don't taste great. But
The idea is really cool, though.
they sure pack on the calories, my guy.
My brother, at one time, he had a survivalist kit, I guess.
Yeah.
And in those, he had nutrition bars, I guess. I don't really know what to call
Yeah,
them.
like 7,000 calories.
Yeah, they're like 7,000 calories for like a square inch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally, I'll try one.
Yeah.
I'll try just a small portion of this. Because at the time I didn't know. My brother just kind of walks on. He's like, "Hey, you want to try this?" And I was like, "Sure,
yeah.
whatever." It's like a granola bar. Sure, I'll try it. So I eat like half of it or whatever it is.
Taste buds just commit suicide.
And yeah, it wasn't very good. And I'm like, "Oh man, that was awful." And he's like, "Well, you just had 3,500 calories, so."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, that's great. It's only like a standard adult male's twice daily amount."
Yeah. Literally.
And now I'm the size I am today. Thanks. Thanks, my brother. No, I'm kidding. That does bring me up. So I want to tattle on my grandmother a little bit.
Tell on your grandmother?
I want to tattle on her.
Oh, tattle.
I want to complain about her
All right,
slightly.
do it.
She's so awesome. Right? She's a really good cook, if you can't tell. For people on the podcast who can't see me, it's pretty obvious that my grandmother's a good cook. We'll just say that.
Shut up.
And so, I've been kind of fighting with it for on and off, basically for my whole life. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lose some weight today, and then I'm like, I'm gonna have some ice cream today
because fucking it's good.
Losing weight tomorrow. The diet always starts tomorrow. It's either tomorrow or if it's a weekend, it starts on Monday.
I empathetically relate to you because
one of these times I was at my grandmother's house and I was trying to be good, as it were.
Right.
And she shows love by feeding. So
that's all great grandmothers do.
She's like, "Do you want some more banana pudding?" And I'm like, I could live off her banana pudding. And Wendy's grandma makes one that's bomb as well. Like I just want to put them in a room and have them make a banana pudding.
Together.
Banana pudding off, and then just watch them fight to the death over which one I like more. Not that they would, but I was trying to be good. She's like, "Do you want some more banana pudding?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay."
She's like,
good.
"Yes, you do."
And it's like 30 seconds later, she's like, "Oh, there's banana pudding here.
It's really fucking good, Wes."
She's just sitting there with like big puppy dog eyes.
Please eat my banana pudding.
She's like eating it by herself, and she's like, "I wish I had someone to share banana pudding with."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right, Grandma, I'll have some banana pudding."
Right.
After like the 7th or 8th time that she's like, "Maybe some banana pudding."
Your fucking grandmother voice.
Dude, she's the best. So I'm eating it, and my mom comes in, and she goes, "Oh, what are you doing? I thought you were being good." And I was like, "I was trying."
But grandma.
And she's like, "Well, what happened?" I was like, "Grandma basically forced this on me."
Yeah.
And my grandmother heard, and she's like, "No, I didn't.
How dare you?"
I've never done such a thing."
Yeah.
I was like, "Grandma, you've done this my entire life. You are the way that I am."
You are the way that I am.
And she can't help it. She shows love by giving food.
That's sweet, though. That's what they do.
Oh yeah, man. I would say it's the best, but it's slowly killing me. So.
Oh my god.
It's almost
that's
the best.
So dark.
Thanks, Grandma. You're murdering.
Jeez.
No, I'm totally kidding.
Yeah.
Except.
You're not. Yes, you're the best.
No, man, I'm teasing.
I fucking love
I do
you.
remember one time though. I was super young. Basically young enough to where I was definitely not making my own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just eaten like a big meal or something. I don't remember. I remember I was full, and I was like up to the brim, and I felt like I was about to puke.
Oh wow, yeah.
And my
Full.
grandmother, right? She didn't know. She just walked in, and she had like a box of donuts.
Banana pudding.
She starts throwing them at me. She's like, "Oh, do you want a donut?" And I was a little fat.
You
kid.
were like, "Fuck yeah!"
I was like, "Yeah, those are the best." You microwave them for like 10 seconds, even if they're not
8
fresh.
seconds.
Yeah, it's just, man, it's good.
It's good.
They become fresh.
Exactly.
And so I ate like half of one, and then I remember waiting for like 5 minutes and just bringing everything back up.
Oh
man.
wow!
It was so bad.
Your body was like.
Yep. It was like, "Yo, bro."
That's funny. No, I totally understand. Especially, I was at that point too where like I felt like I don't know, just wasn't in control.
Yeah.
Like, cause I don't really
Was
know.
that the day that you were riding a bus?
Wait, what?
Not in control.
That's
yeah.
great, dude.
You're just along for the ride.
And I had always, like you said, just tried, try little things, and just sometimes.
For those of you that don't know Josh, he looks like a toothpick.
Right. No, I used to be.
Josh is a skinny bastard.
I used to be more overweight, and so I don't know, just wanted to change it. So I mean, it takes a lot of willpower. And like,
What are you trying to say?
Nothing, Wes.
Wow.
I'm so.
Wow.
I didn't say anything.
Are you fat shaming me?
No.
I didn't mean to hit the table. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's
No,
fine.
it's cool.
And
Josh is not. Josh is a lovely person.
Yeah.
Don't hate Josh. The internet. He's the best.
I'm a good boy.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far, bro.
A good boy is a title that is reserved for puppers.
Right.
I would say it's reserved for puppers and kittens, but I hate kittens.
See?
Dude, cat's the worst. I figured out why cat's the worst. It's you know that they are Satan incarnate because their most affectionate gesture is when they are sticking claws in you left and right, making biscuits.
They're kneading, yeah.
Right.
They're
just they are inserting claws into your flesh.
Yeah.
And that means I love you. And if that's what means I love you in cat,
There's some demons.
that means when I'm tired of you, or even worse, I hate you,
It's a lot more.
it's the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Cats,
It's so annoying.
they're a special kind of evil, but also a special kind of adorable.
I mean, yeah. I'll get up in the middle of the night sometimes and like sit in my chair, and the cat's like, "Oh, you're in your chair. That means it's cuddle time." And I'm like half
Swoop
asleep
right in.
sometimes, so I'm just like, "Oh, whatever." And the cat will jump up on my chest. I'm just like, "All right, I know you're about to headbutt me in the face over and over again." I feel like I've been punched in the nose when I wake up because my cat's just like, ugh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so and start headbutting me. I'm like, all right, you just need to find a spot. And I'll try to like pull some covers up or something like over me so that he can't knead directly into the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one time recently where I didn't pull him off, enough or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was kneading, and as soon as I pulled the covers up, he just kind of looked at me like sideways.
Like, I'll cut you.
And then he laid down just so that his arms were out. They're outstretched because he's laying down now instead of standing up.
Right.
So he's laid down and his arms are outstretched, and they reach just over where the cover was. He starts kneading again.
Pulling.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, your I love you is, let me see if I could slowly kill this thing with my claws.
No. Where it comes from is like whenever they're younger, like they're drinking milk from their mother,
Okay.
and they need the milk out.
With claws.
Well, I mean, as a kitten, yes. That's why it hurts like a motherfucker, I imagine, for the mama cat.
Dude,
Yeah. And that's whenever their claws, are the most sharp.
what kind of evolutionary thing?
Yeah. The evolution of death. All right. Cats
Evolution's like, hey, we're gonna turn you into such a murdering machine that you've got to scrape the milk out of your mother.
So that actually brings me to a thought. We were talking about kids and pets and whatever. Is it moral?
To let my Roomba run twice in a day? Yes. If it's really dirty.
Is it moral?
I ran him twice today. He just finished a job. It was so
Is that what the thing was on your phone, or
I guess so. I don't remember.
Maybe it was my phone. I was thinking about. Anyways,
I could run it again just to be sure.
I'm okay. So, is it moral to not adopt a pet whenever you not adopt a cat? Like, is it moral to breed a dog specifically for you?
I don't know what you mean. So,
as many cats have no homes, as many cats are on the streets dying, is it moral to go to a breeder and say, all right, I want this cat, make it happen, have that cat for me?
first off, I don't think anyone's ever done that with a cat.
Yes, they do.
If
Like
they
Maine Coon
have-
cats are highly requested.
You are a terrible person because the world does not need cats. Cats are Satan incarnate.
So either way, your thought is that it's moral to it's a moral to have a cat bred.
I mean, to a certain extent, yes. I don't want...
Think about how far you take this, because I'm going to give you a parallel option that's going to blow your mind. All right.
So I don't want, I don't want any animal to suffer, and obviously I can't save all the animals.
Right, of course.
And it's heartbreaking because, like I've talked about on the podcast before, that Winnie and I have had to turn away a few cats.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really sad. But it's also, you know, I don't not necessarily the financial ability, but
The love, like
I mean, yeah, just the time and making sure
Everything
the
that you
cats aren't
need.
killing each other.
right, yeah,
You know, I picked up my one basket case, and I feel like that I'm doing
you're
good.
doing good, yeah.
And you know, I'd be a lot more willing if mine had a tail and he could communicate to other cats. I feel like I'd be more willing, but I've also heard a lot of horror stories and stuff like that
Yeah.
where it doesn't really work out. And like I said, when we picked up a kitten and just kept it overnight, our cat went ballistic.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, you know," he was acting
Replacing me
out.
now.
He's like, "Oh, you're gonna replace me? Have fun buying a new phone!" And he drops
Yeah.
the phone off the
Yeah.
counter and stuff like that. So obviously, I want to save every kitten I can. But conversely, even if you go and you request someone to breed you a specific cat, most likely that person is already going to breed that cat anyway. And if they don't find a home, it's either going to be euthanized or, you know, out on the streets, you know, and feral and stuff like that. And so I think to a point, it is better to adopt and to find, you know, cats that are out in the wild and stuff like that. And it's obviously a huge problem. But conversely, and not to badmouth, you know, reputable breeders and stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know, I think of any animal that is taken into a home and loved and cared for is both a sick pleasure and also a great thing. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. Okay, so like,
Because who are we humans? We're like, oh yeah, this cute little murder machine. I'm gonna bring it into my home.
right.
You
No,
know?
I agree. Okay, so all those thoughts, right? Just keep those fresh.
Okay. These
Like
are fresh out the oven
you
thoughts.
you talked about like supply and demand, basically, of like the breeder was going to already still have those kittens, no matter what. It just either supply and demand. You understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of like having trouble explaining it for people that don't understand what I'm saying.
Supply and demand.
Like,
So economics 101.
no, just like the breeder was gonna have these kittens anyways, no matter what.
But you see, there's also a different thing because when I was in high school, and for years I begged my mom, you know, oh, let me have a dog, you know,
Yeah.
as children do, because you know, I'd grown up with dogs and I loved them and stuff like that. And we didn't have a dog at my mom's house, and I was like, let me have a dog, I want a dog.
Right.
And she's like, okay. After I'd saved up for like 2 years or something, like I finally had enough money. She was like, okay, I'll let you get whatever dog you want as long as it's an outside dog.
Ah, yeah.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to have a golden retriever because I love golden retriever. I mean, I love basically any dog,
Right.
you know, but that's
But
just,
golden retrievers are like the
it's like stereotypical American. almost,
Exactly,
you know,
yeah.
so I don't know what was going through my head. I still would love a golden
Yeah.
retriever. You know, now if I had an infinite amount of money and time, I would absolutely have like a Siberian Husky or a wolf
yeah,
type dog.
yeah.
Not like an actual wolf, because those bastards are scary. Which, oh my god, dude,
Hang on, I gotta parallel this at some point.
you will. Sorry about that. I saw a video is on Reddit of just this huge dog walking into like the middle of a freeway.
Like a mastiff?
No, this was a wolf. This was a
Okay.
wild wolf that you just see him walk out into the middle of the street. He doesn't give any craps, and he's just staring at the camera person who's like in their car with the lights on. And then you see like a whole bunch of like eyes like on the sides of the road, and the guy just kind of he just kind of goes away.
Heats out, yeah.
Yeah, and it's you read some of the stories and they're like, yeah, I was, you know, driving down the road one time and I saw this one wolf and he just started approaching me like he, was doing. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be able to mess up a wolf. And he's like, but on second thought, I'll just leave. And he's like, he looked in the rearview mirror and all he saw was like 4 or 5 like behind him already.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to mess the wolf, you know. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Yeah.
Like you see one of them, and there's like 15.
There's a lot behind you. Yeah, you better turn around, boy. Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, I maybe, if the conditions are right, maybe could fight off a feral wolf.
If I'm inside of my car,
Yeah. Like 90%, I'm dying. There's maybe 99%. You know,
Yeah.
there's that small chance that I pull the gray Liam Neeson and I'm an alcoholic or something and I've got beer bottles strapped to my fists. I don't really know how that fight worked in the movie because I didn't see it. And also, they ended right before it happened, so, you know.
Wait, what movie?
The Gray?
Oh, yeah!
With Liam Neeson, where, like, he crashes.
Liam Neeson!
And, like, the very ending
Yeah.
scene, I heard about it, I didn't watch it.
It's great.
Is him with, like, these, you know, beer bottles or whatever attached to his fist. And they, like, Rocky 3 freeze frame ending it, you know, where him and the
Yeah.
wolves are going at it.
God, it's such a good movie, too, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think absolutely he would have been torn up by those wolves.
You don't know.
I think unless they had his daughter, but
That's taken shit.
yeah. So yeah, wolves are scary. I'll totally get one. But so I saved up money for 2 years, and I was about to find the perfect
Pupper.
specimen,
Right.
which
Right.
it really any dog is great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my mom finally came to her senses because she realized Wes is a lot smarter than me. No, I'm kidding.
Your mom's just like, what the
She's like, all right, because she listens to the podcast every now and then.
Oh, nice.
Sort of. I showed it to her once. She was so disappointed. She's like, I thought you worked on airplanes. Sorry, Mom.
Little does she know.
No, but she was like, if you're going to buy this dog yourself and take care of it, you get whatever dog you want. I was like, well, I'm a sucker for a dachshund. So went to like a dachshund breeder and got one. And obviously a dachshund's a much smaller dog than a...
Easier maintained.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more of an inside dog, which really any dog could be an inside dog. But, that's another reason why you might go to a breeder instead of going out.
Right.
Which... I'm not saying it's a great reason because you could probably spend some time and wait. There's probably going to be a dog of the size that you want, or the breed that you want, that needs rescuing. But that might be another reason why people go to
Okay,
breeders.
so
hit me with your
all of these thoughts that you're having about adoption
these
for
fresh
pets.
right, these fresh oven.
Parallel that to, is it immoral to have kids and not adopt?
So because I feel like that's a totally different argument.
I agree. Yeah.
Because however you want to slice it, all humans want to do for the majority of their life, right? We are basically hyper intelligent monkeys that look for chemical releases in the brain. And
wow, you're like really like summarizing our existence right now.
That's really all that we really only care about, like from babies till death.
It's reward.
Is that feel good sensation
That
from the
sweet dopamine,
brain, which is produced by food.
Right.
And it's produced by sometimes working out, which that's a myth.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And it's produced by adult intimate actions. we'll say.
Right. Yeah.
And so I feel like what we were talking about with the guy who is trying to murder his baby mama.
I thought you were going to talk about like the cheating shit that we talked about.
Well, I mean, even that, these people are not necessarily in a committed relationship,
Right.
Emotionally or whatever, and they are just trying to, basically everybody's just trying to get their next hit of whatever feels good.
Right.
And that's why, there's a lot of drug use that's really popular, because people, they want to do that. And it's like heroin is one of the most, disruptive things for your life. But there's a bunch of heroin addicts out there. It's because, we basically just crave that feel-good feeling, and for some people it doesn't matter where it comes from. And if that's feeling wanted or needed by someone else physically, that's something that people will go to a lot of lengths for. And so, while I think it's good to adopt if you can, that it's kind of going to be the same argument that people are probably going to have these children whether you adopt them or not,
Right.
And also, there's this kind of preconceived notion that if I allow my genes to replicate, I've done good.
Oh no, I don't say that about mine. I have bad genes in my health.
Are those the ripped frayed knee genes?
I got shitty knees,
Okay,
I got
guys,
shitty livers, shitty heart.
This is one of the things that I'm absolutely, I'm so anti-millennial. It doesn't make any sense to me. Josh has a pair of jeans, and I've made fun of him for it before, way back in the day. Josh has a pair of jeans on the knee, on one of the knees. It has been scrapped and cut and scraped away, and it looks like these are super worn jeans.
Yeah.
And then they've been re-stitched over with almost like a different
patch.
Yeah, like a different material. And I'm like, oh man, your jeans, these look.
On the inside though, the patch is on the inside,
right?
Which is important. Wes.
I was like, Josh, you probably had these jeans since you were born. These jeans look.
And I'm wearing them now.
They are well worn and active. I'm like, kudos to you for patching them up and saving them.
Hell
and stuff. Yeah. And Josh is like, oh, actually, no, they just came like this. I bought these yesterday. And I was
sarcastic
I was like, what?
Are you sure?
I was so upset about this. I was like, so you're telling me someone somewhere created perfectly good jeans, cut a hole in the knee, patched it back up, and sold it as that rugged look.
Distressed.
Oh, man, I was so livid.
Dude.
We are so consumed with ourselves. You know what I mean?
You're talking in the age of selfie, Wes, of course.
All right, that brings me on to my next, just a quick little topic. And keep in mind, I love ice cream more than the next person.
Where are we going with this?
It really pisses me off.
He's mad, he's legitimately mad right now.
That we expend energy, electrical energy, to make things cold.
Why?
Because
Why does that make you mad?
If you believe in scientific theory and all these things, the sun is going to burn out in 10 billion years or whatever it is,
I mean, I think it's a little bit more than that.
Whatever the time frame, longer than I'm gonna be alive.
right.
So, at that point, the sun's gonna burn out.
Right.
It'll expand and it'll expand so large that it actually consumes the orbit of up to Mars or something like that.
I believe so. Yes.
And then it's going to shrink down and explode, possibly become a black hole, but most likely disperse into nothingness. And then there will be nothing in this particular side of space that's warming this particular side of space.
Right.
And that eventually all the stars in all the cosmos will burn out. Okay. And we will be left with nothing but cold.
No. I'm sorry. It's a cycle because...
You're talking about the Big Bounce.
Oh, God. I'm not talking about the Big Bounce. I'm talking about,
bounce.
The idea that stars implode, and then release off their materials, I guess you'd say is another word, their elements, right?
Right.
Leads to more stars being made.
They release off into space.
It leads to more stars. It leads to more stars being made, no matter what.
To an extent, but also they theorize that maximum entropy must be increased. Which, for the lesser known, and I only know this because I had my good friend John Cootie.
Oh, John Cootie.
Who's wasn't able to make it to the podcast today, unfortunately. He basically said that, all things are going to come to an end.
The physics major, my God.
The heat death of the universe, basically.
Yeah.
Where there will be nothing left to heat us. Okay. Like our nice giant suns.
Okay, so your point is...
So my point is, us as humans are
make it cold.
I'm going to expend energy, some of the precious finite energy that we have, to make this thing cold. When, if I give it 10 billion years, it'll be cold by itself.
That is not an argument. I'm sorry.
I'm so mad about this.
That's irrational.
I think about this, I'm like, I turn on my AC, my good Japanese heat.
Oh, yeah.
Or my good Japanese cold.
You gotta explain that. Did we talk about that on here?
That was on the first one.
Oh, it was.
Podcast.
Okay.
For those of you that might have missed it.
My good Japanese heat.
For those of you that missed it, I have a Nissan truck. And...
Shit.
And one of our coworkers described a custom sauna that he had, and he described the heater in the sauna as being a Finnish
heat, my
Finnish
God.
heater. And I just didn't understand, why
All
is,
right.
it's producing the same heat.
Go watch the first podcast. It's wonderful.
Right, so it's really good. And so I think about that every time I turn on my nice Japanese cool, I'm like, oh man, I'm making myself so cool. Oh, I'm a bastard.
But you fucking appreciate it.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
As as a monkey with chemical bombardment to the brain, I'm like, oh yeah, this feels good.
This feels fucking good.
But as like a moral standpoint, I'm like, oh man, I'm wasting some of the energy that we've got in this finite universe
Right.
to make something cold when it will be cold soon enough.
Soon enough.
Soon, so those are the things I think about,
That's some interesting thoughts. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I have this sort of like existential, like, just thoughts too. Can't think of one.
Well, do you know what the Big Bounce is?
As far like, what do you ask? Because like every action has an equal and opposite reaction, is what you're saying. It's like from the Big Bang, it went out, but now it has to.
Right. So the theory of the Big Bang is that life started, or that the universe started at a singular point, and it was so tightly compact and condensed that it just exploded out. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And scientists think that we are still currently expanding.
Actually, I have thoughts about the Big Bang that like,
Really?
are different. Yeah.
So what do you think?
Okay, so a lot of people say this is about religion, sort of.
Oh boy,
We're
So
getting in there.
we started
We
heavy.
started past.
We started heavy. We started.
We
became
lightened up a
funny.
little bit. Yeah.
We're starting with the heavy again. My boxing gloves are already on.
No. It's just like it's not even like deep. It's just that the basic principle that there's the argument that the Big Bang just happened, right?
Okay.
So my thought process is if the argument that something can't come from nothing, right?
Right.
How did the Big Bang come?
Explain
Do you
that,
get what I'm
Christians.
saying? Explain my question?
No, I'm sorry. Explain that, scientists.
All right.
Christianity 1, science 0. Where did the Big Bang matter come from?
No. I'm just saying, like not even like a specific religion at all. I'm just saying, in generally, like, a lot of people believe that there is more than our plane of existence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. If that may or may not be true, the Big Bang had to have come from somewhere. Or like, if it was so tightly compacted, what made it so compact? Or like, what happened? Like, we need to know like where it started. And like thinking about that always, like, that's one of my existential things. It's like, obviously something can't come from nothing. So what started something? Do you get that?
Yeah, that makes sense. But the converse theory that the Big Bounce, that, basically the Big Bang happens.
Right.
And after all that energy is expunged, it all basically seeps back
Comes
in
back.
together
It's
and
cycle.
forms that point, and
Yeah.
the Big Bang happens again, and just,
Right.
it's basically this bouncing maneuver.
Okay, so even that theory in and of itself, what started that?
So
It's hard to like think about.
if you think about it, no one really discovered, or no one really started gravity. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a thing that is always there. So I guess it could be possible that these things, these atoms or these elements, could have just been there for forever. They just exist, and I don't know how. No one knows how.
right, and that's
But
the thing.
They just exist, and gravity just exists. Just this nature of this world that the programmers have made for us.
The Matrix.
They just exist, and so they act in the way that they act because
Right.
they act that way. Basically, and that's a really sucky explanation, but that's maybe the best argument that I can. come up
Yeah,
with.
I agree. The thing is I like to acknowledge that I don't know.
Oh,
People that don't acknowledge that they don't know truly, that's the kind of thought process that bothers me.
right. People that are just super set, like, no, this has happened because
Right.
I believe it.
The Big Bang 1,000,000,000% happened. It's like, do you know?
Yeah, I totally get that, and I will absolutely be the second to say, since you put the first, that I don't know everything.
Precisely.
And I, in fact, know very little. If you've listened to the other podcast, you'll understand how very little I know. Yeah. Especially if we start talking about sports or cars or the legal system.
Oh, good.
Or basically anything.
YouTube.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, YouTube. He's a YouTube personality. There's so very little that I do understand, and you know, what else are we gonna do except for trying to figure everything out?
Exactly.
You know, it's getting back into the conspiracy theory talk of our second podcast. Kind of.
Aha.
I think it'd be really cool. Like, I don't want anything bad to happen. You know, like obviously.
Where are you going?
I don't want anything bad to happen. But if an alien was just like, hey,
I exist.
This person right here, I'm just gonna take him, bring him up, and that person's me, obviously.
Dude, that's happened, obviously.
Right, but everyone's.
I'm joking, okay? For everyone that couldn't see my face.
No, it has happened. Wake up, sheeple. Wake up. No,
We get Alex Jones.
So, I just think it'd be really cool, like, if I went up and saw aliens and they were like, hey, this is our entire society and all these things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then they brought me back. I don't know. I'd like to think that I wouldn't be a crazy person because basically everyone that's seen aliens, they're crazy. You know? They're like, yeah, they took me up and they took a cow and they
I have no
experimented
comment.
on my butthole.
I have absolutely no comment.
You know? And maybe that's what aliens do. I don't know. But if they just took me up and they're like, hey, we exist. We'd prefer to stay anonymous. But here's all our cool stuff. And they just sent me back home and I went about my normal life.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the dopest ever.
Yes. Are you trying to tell me that's happened, Wes?
No, I'm not.
Wink if you're okay.
No, I'm fine.
He winked.
No, I'm kidding.
No, totally. Like, if they ever gave me, like, why am I agreeing with this? If they gave me, like, their technology or whatever, I'd totally...
Josh is a crazy person.
I'd totally become, like, a superhero, you know?
No, I wouldn't even...
Dude, I'd make $1 million off of it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Stay in the spotlight.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily get anything from it, except for the knowledge... Hey, this is what this is.
Right.
This is what exists.
Would you document it for like everyone
No.
else?
If they were like, hey, we don't want to be known, but you seem like a cool enough guy that we're going to show you.
I'm hearing a lot of loopholes here. I'm hearing like, okay, they don't have to be known, but you could just like write down the technology and just
No, I wouldn't.
leave it on your desk, and then after you die, some fucker in 1,000 years will find it. You know?
I really just hope, beyond hope, that there are... You know, some sort of species out there.
Is there anyone listening to this podcast?
That, you know, not only do they care. You know, it's like having a big brother watch over you. You know,
Right? Yeah.
Like he's not there presently, but it's like that threat on the playground. Like my big brother could beat up yours, and everybody knows it's true.
Damn, that's almost like religion.
Right. If there was just some sort of proof. If the aliens just...
Oh my god!
If the aliens just came to me and was like, hey, this is all our stuff, I'd be like, yeah, that's dope. Thanks for sharing, you know?
I'm steadfast in my beliefs, but I understand.
Like, I think it'd be dope, and if anyone's listening, which I doubt they are, in like the government, or I'm sorry, the one that doesn't exist,
Ah, okay.
A lot of people call it like the Illuminati,
Do they?
There's probably lots of names, but if there is, like a Men in Black, like a secret organization, how does one join that? Because you can't go about and be like, hey, I want to join the Men in Black. They absolutely don't pick you, you know what I mean?
You have to start looking at what you don't see. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that hurts my head. I just want to have all the answers spoon-fed. Is that too
like,
much?
if you're ever walking through your house and you swore to God that you saw something move in the corner, check again, just in case.
So...
You might see something and then you might get caught. You might...
The problem with that, and if you browse,
Reddit.
I made the mistake of... I saw a story on the front page.
Of Reddit?
Like, yeah, of Reddit. And it was for the subreddit, A Glitch in the Matrix.
Oh, boy!
And the post is interesting. I was like, oh, I'm gonna
have to deep dive into this.
I was like, I'm gonna pay for this later. Click on the subreddit and I start reading through some of the stories, and now my mind just hurts.
Okay, explain them. I need to know.
Well, like one of them was like this guy was on his basically a country road.
Country
and
roads.
Take me home. He's on this country road and there's only like 2 houses, and one of the houses has been abandoned for forever.
Yeah.
You know. That one day he's driving down his road and he sees a bunch of like African American women in bonnets, and like he sees a couple of them in the house, just like looking at him, and like they all look like they're seeing a ghost with him in his truck or whatever. And so like he says that he looked at all of them, you know, and he saw like a bunch of people working on the fields and stuff that no one had ever been in the fields, and that basically the only people that use that land now are like the ag students, like agricultural students and stuff from like the local college.
Yeah.
And so that he called up to the college.
Is there anyone supposed to be here?
Make sure that there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
He called like his local film festivals and like a lot of his local friends that are like into the film industry.
As Reddit does, yeah.
You know, and verified that there was no like filming projects going on right there. And he said that there was like a bunch of people and they were all in like old time dress or whatever, and he saw them and they saw him. And he said he drove home and like immediately drove back and they were all gone.
No one's there.
Oh,
buddy!
So that's that's one of the stories that kind of stuck with me.
Right.
And
he just goes online, Googles like abnormal sightings in 19 something something.
Right.
And it's just him.
Dude, there's a go read that subreddit and it's freaky. And like there was one I read a long time ago, probably like a year ago, about alien abductions and how people basically feel very cold right when it's about to happen, and they look at the clock and it says something, and then like the next thing they're like waking up to their alarm or something. It's like they recognize that they get up and they walk out of the room or something, and like they look at the microwave time, it's like 3:08 a.m. or whatever, and then they say they don't remember anything after that they just wake up to their alarm or something, and every single person's like, and yeah, my head is throbbing right now. So there's weird stuff.
See, I don't quite know if I believe in abductions.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's out there.
Right. Exactly.
And the problem is about what you're saying about if you think you see something and you look twice. The problem is our brains are so lazy.
Oh yeah.
That's like if you watch Apollo Robbins on, if you watch his TED Talk, which is phenomenal.
I love TED.
Apollo Robbins is considered by many to be the greatest pickpocket in the entire world.
Yeah, I think
And he gives a TED Talk that's so superb.
It's about how your brain just
He's like
fills in the gaps.
Yeah, you've got basically like this little guy in your brain who's watching monitors, and you've got the same guy controlling like the storage of your brain and memories and stuff like that. And so like he brings a guy up onto the stage, and it doesn't seem like it's staged. Obviously, it could be.
Right.
But
I mean, I doubt it. Yeah.
I doubt it too, because it's a really, really good performance if it is.
Nice.
And like you just watch him basically manipulate this guy, and he takes like his phone, his keys, his wallet, his watch, like all up on stage, all without the guy
noticing,
like looking at him and realizing, oh, my watch is gone now, And so brains are just so lazy. They just want to fill in. Like I'm looking at Josh, and he's wearing some sort of salmon-colored shirt.
It's peach.
Oh my God! Sorry.
No, it's salmon.
And if I look away and I look back and it's red, and it's like, oh, okay, my brain's just super lazy because it's like, oh, it's kind of a red.
Kind of that hue of color.
Yeah. So brains are so lazy and so I don't want to say unrealistic, but they're not. It's really weird because you can have something that's totally not plausible, like you cannot trust your brain at all in this particular instance. And then like traumatic experiences, like I can't remember anything around the 9/11 era, that was like 2001. And even though obviously I have memories from there, I don't remember like what I was doing day to day or anything, but that day, even though nothing traumatic happened to me, I just remember everybody freaking out about it. Around
the day.
me.
Yeah, it was an important day.
I remember like everything for like a 4 or 5 hour stretch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I feel that.
Like I remember we were in the classroom and then we go to lunch, and that's when we learned about it. And after my lunch period ends, my mom was already at the school. And she's
Checking
like,
you out.
"All right, you're coming home because they might start targeting schools, and
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh, that's, I was like, Mom, you're crazy, because they're not going to target just some random school in North Louisiana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, and even if they do, there's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
Which is obviously a terrible little child thing. But I was a dumb little child. So.
Yeah.
But I remember that, and I remember, not really, it didn't really hit me the implications of what that meant for the day or.
Right.
Or,
yeah.
the
But you still
future.
remember the day. Like,
But I remember everything about it. I remember asking my mom like,
what?
why is everybody so upset about these towers going down?
Just didn't really think. Yeah.
I was like, they're just gonna rebuild them. It's gonna be okay. Like,
Yeah.
let's all just calm down. I had no idea.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I remember all these things so very clearly. And if you look at anybody's eyewitness accounts from that day, like it's like etched into the memories,
Yep.
perfect. Like they can remember smells and sights and
Yeah.
colors, and they remember everything.
Yeah.
And so the brain is just so unreliable. And so all these people that claim to have been abducted, maybe it's possible. I'm sure if aliens exist and they have the power to visit Earth without us knowing, or with only certain of us knowing, and a whole bunch of these other things, it's possible that they could do whatever, or they could alter memory, or
Right.
I just think it'd be cool to learn whatever it is out there that is worth learning. And if we are alone in the universe, it's like super sad.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a really good job of messing ourselves up.
Yeah, there's actually like that little thing. I think I might have actually said it on here before, but maybe not. It's like there are 2 options: either we are alone or we are not, and they're both pretty terrifying.
Yeah, I remember talking about that on the second podcast about we sent out the broadcast,
Conspiracies.
and the only broadcast we got back is shh.
Yeah, like, be quiet. They're hearing.
That freaks me out even more.
Yeah. Oh God. Well,
Is it arrogant of me to want all the answers?
No, it's not. I mean, I just feel like that's what we want as a species.
Like, as my dumb monkey brain just wants chemical reactions and answers.
Both of
That's
those.
it. Just give me that good and them good answers,
and them
son.
good answers. I feel like, oh, dude, that's primitive shit right there, huh?
Are you honest? Okay. So we're gonna wrap it up. If you're still listening at this point,
Bless you.
I feel so bad for you, honestly.
We're so sorry.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for listening, and we appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, and even it's just us 2 weirdos talking to each other
Yeah.
in a dark, damp cave here.
Oh, the office.
Thanks, everybody.